So let's move into the number 3s. I'll start with my third movie, which was... This is where it got difficult for me, because my top 3 movies were definitely these 3.
It's very fluid.
And the order that I was going to put it in, and it depends on what day you catch me on, obviously, but when I finished putting together my list, my number 3 was Lady Bird, which is
my number 1.
A delightful movie.
Should
we'll
get
into it. Yeah, I'll wait till because she has it so high, which is great.
True.
So,
my number 3 is another sci-fi android movie. Ugh. No, it's not Blade Runner. Starring Michael Fassbender. It's Alien Covenant. Oh. This movie is Ridley Scott's third return to the android sandbox. I don't know, playground. This is, he really likes this genre, which is okay. Should I start all over?
No, go ahead. Just go.
Anyways,
what Ridley Scott likes is creator and creation interacting, and that's what this movie is.
But that's the thing, is that I don't think this movie did any of that.
Yeah.
Is that Prometheus, I thought Prometheus was
somewhat better.
I think Prometheus was better.
No, because I think Prometheus was more focused.
I wouldn't necessarily argue that point, but I think this is a continuation of what he was doing with Prometheus.
No.
I think he added a little more alien stuff.
That's what I wanted to see.
No.
But that's the thing.
Listen,
I think this movie failed as a horror, because as a horror, it just did the cliches. Right. It's like you're in the shower, you're going to get killed.
I don't think
you're walking out alone, you're going to get killed.
Listen, I was there where you guys are. I wanted to see the engineers. But the more I think about Alien Covenant, the more I think this is the only logical way to go. It's only logical for Ridley Scott to do a movie in the point of David, the android, and just say fuck you to the creators and get into the mindset of this psychotic being. And it's wonderful how he does it. He does it in this gothic world where there's like there's a fucking medieval science lab underneath the engineer city. I just love the visual imagery of this movie, the themes. It examines what it's meant to be. Like, it examines artificial life so much better than Blade Runner 2049, in my opinion. I am sorry. Like, wow. The more I thought about this, that's why this movie kicked Blade Runner out of my top 10 list.
What I like about David in the movie is he is both... He's both this thing that rebels against his creator, and yet he's also literally just becoming his creator.
Exactly.
Because he's doing the exact same thing that Wayland did, which is he wants to create life and keep improving upon that life that he creates and be a god.
And I think that's I think that's the point of these movies, is we get too obsessed with our creators, and we gotta think that maybe they're just like us.
Yeah.
And you know, and you gotta get past that, and just in the end, all you can do is create. And I love. And Mariana, how could you not think the ending of Alien Covenant is the most scariest alien ending ever, where he is trapped on a ship, on a ship with thousands of specimens and
subjects potentially.
No, but I think what came before that undermined that, because any movie that has two people that look alike, and then you think it's the good one that survived, it's never the good one that survived.
Right.
If any time,
and obviously, and he plays with that.
No, but
I think he played with it well.
They fully cut away from that scene, and as soon as they did that, I'm like, oh, that's so obvious.
It's supposed to be. It's meant to be obvious.
That undermines the whole thing, because it's like they put it as if this is like surprising.
And the trays were perfectly
I don't think so.
there for
No. I don't think it played off as surprising, because the next scene where an alien is loose on the ship, you see David smiling. You see David smiling while all these people are struggling to catch the alien, and that's when you know that
it's got a lot of.
That's not
up to. It's not like the very end. You're supposed to be like, that was David the whole time. No.
Like,
there's definitely a lot of.
There's a lot of little
foreshadowing
I just love
David.
This movie, you guys. Yeah. Give it a please.
No, I agree. I
didn't like it the first time I watched it, but please give it a rewatch. Please give it a rewatch.
Number 3, Andy.
My number 3 has already been spoken about.
Oh, we talked about it?
I believe it was Logan.
Yes. Oh, perfect.
Yes,
perfect.
Okay, cool.
My number 3, Train Spotting. T2 Train Spotting. The Train Spotting sequel.
I have not seen that yet.
Anyone else put it on their list?
I was thinking about it.
Man, I adored it. I thought it was, I was late to the train with Trainspotting. I didn't see it till maybe like a year and a half.
To the train with Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe 2 years ago most. It was the first Trainspotting. I liked it. This one took Trainspotting and like it did sort of a self-examination of it. This movie where the first one was about addiction to heroin and addiction in general. This movie is about addiction to nostalgia and the past and all this sort of the things that comfort us that you think are innocent, but it shows the sort of darker side of that. I think it has these beautiful scenes that show just how destructive maybe, but more so the way being too hung up with your past can hold you back from moving on to a healthier future. It's one of the most beautiful things about this movie. It takes the iconic song from the credits from the first Trainspotting, and it takes pieces of it and it turns that into the score for the movie.
I thought the score was completely.
There's other parts, but there's a number of. It takes because it's a very long song.
Yeah. The
Born
song was
Slippy.
Silk or something by.
Born Slippy.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's the song name or the musician. I can't remember.
The song name is Silk.
Not the one at the credits.
Okay.
But
sorry,
what it does, it chops it into
yeah.
pieces and it puts it all throughout the movie. Little tastes of it. Little taste. Not a single time does it actually play the iconic part that everyone loves from the song. Yeah. It's basically... It is musically showing what this movie is about, where it's about this nostalgia, because this was a very popular movie back then, especially in Europe, and it's basically like, it's just giving you a taste. It's giving you a taste of that thing you want, and then it never actually gives it to you. But it gives you so much more in a way. Because it's sort of transformative. I think it's a great movie if you've seen Trainspotting.
One of the things I love about this movie, and that gives me so much hope, is that no matter how old a director gets, he always has like this youth style in him, and this movie is it captures that so wonderfully. The way he uses the medium of movies is so wonderful. He plays with it like this was his first movie, you know? I just love that.
Wonderful.
Mariana?
Well, my number 3 is Call Me By Your Name, which is it's just a beautiful story about a relationship regardless of sexuality. And I think the hardest part is that romance in general is my least favorite genre. Just because there's so many tropes, and usually I never really care about their relationship because the only time you see their relationship is when they're fighting or when they have sex. And then you never see that in between of them connecting. It's like there's short little like...
I feel like you're watching the wrong movie.
No, but I'm saying popular romance. Like the biggest romances that make the most money are always the worst ones.
Do you think this has the potential to be
like Twilight?
No. But I'm saying, like, some of my favorite romance movies is the Before trilogy because you see them talking like normal people, and then you see their connection, and then you see them through their hardship. And that's the thing is this movie, it's not glossy at all. It's not like the Hollywood version of, like, a relationship. It's like they have their troubles. There's like, they have their makeup moments, and it's just, you see them in quiet sitting together. Like, that's... In every relationship, there'll be moments when you're just sitting comfortably together, and that's the best part. And just, like, the biggest attribute I give to this movie is that there's 2 original songs, one called Visions of Gideon and one called Mystery of Love. And I've listened to those 2 songs on repeat, because every time I listen to the songs, I picture the movie in my head, and it just, like, gives me goosebumps every time. And, like, the songs aren't the best songs in the world, but it's just, like, I want to keep reliving it. And
I'm the same way. Yeah, I do that.
And there's so one of the songs plays over the end credits, and the end credits is just Timothée Chalamet's face staring into the fireplace, and it's just so quiet, and you see so much. It's just like 4 minutes, and as the credits play over his face, And like this is the end of the movie, so this is not the movie itself. But like,
if it was in the middle, would you have hated it?
But like, it's just you can see every emotion and like the culmination of everything that happens. And this is one of those bittersweet endings where you're so happy it happened. Then you're like, I don't want this to be over.
It's on your list too, right?
Yes, it was lower on my list, but I want to say that Mariana hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
I feel like these kind of movies need to be seen on a broader scale.
Yeah, but that's why I hate. They always advertise the worst
right.
type of romance movies.
And the thing is, sometimes romance doesn't need to be so overly contrived. This just felt like if it was like not even a reality TV show gets a real relationship, films a real relationship like this movie did. Because even reality TV show feels like it's scripted. It feels like it's a show.
Well, they only show you like the best of or
right?
like the most dramatic parts.
This just felt like people.
Yeah, two people
Like just people.
being together.
Just people.
Interesting.
There's a nice taboo.
It was
aspect
very
of
refreshing that way.
Yeah.
There's a nice taboo aspect of this movie, which I'm really glad that they let happen, and this was accepted. Is the underage relationship between the boy and the...
Not underage in the way that it's illegal because he's of consenting age.
Yeah,
is he of consenting age?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
I thought he wasn't.
He's 17.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, but
no.
that's one of the things where, like, if it was a girl, people would be upset about it.
Stop.
It was not. I'm
That's
saying,
that's not
I'm
even
saying
fair.
if it was an older man going after a young
But it's not
17-year-old
even
girl, it would be
But
a whole
it's
problem.
also in the 80s or 70s.
Right.
Yeah, it's also of a like.
It starts out, the romance starts out as a love-hate relationship where he kind of like looks at him like, why is this guy so freaking cool? Why does everyone like him? And then he starts to like him. And he starts to realize why he likes
he's
it.
charming.
But it's
Because
also
he's
about coming
charming.
of age, and it's
Right.
about your first love, kind of, and it's
Well, it's
And it
not
could be
about
anyone.
It's not even about his first love because
it is. That was his.
yes, it was his first love, but it's not about his first love in the beginning. Because in the beginning, the relationship was with that girl. And
I don't think that was a fake relationship.
and that was
either.
not a fake
Yeah,
relationship.
Yeah, like they never
that
played
wasn't
it
love.
as if like
It
She
wasn't
was
love,
weird.
but
She-
it was
she
a
didn't-
relationship. It was a
What's
relationship.
weird is when you hide your gayness by having a girlfriend.
No, it wasn't
I don't think
even
it was
a beard.
that.
But
It
that's-
wasn't
I
a
know, that's what
beard.
I'm saying. She wasn't his beard.
Okay.
Right, it
That's
was
what I'm saying. She wasn't a beard.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
That's such a weird.
It was like
I'm just...
yes,
I've
I
never
do
seen
enjoy
it.
this person's
You never heard that
company,
term?
but-
No, I know beard. I've
okay,
never
yeah.
seen the movie.
yeah,
I
because
don't know.
he enjoyed her company, and then there's never a moment where you think he's faking it. He could be bi, but that's
Right.
not the point.
Right.
And it's just like,
But he was
no.
definitely only with her for sex.
Not
No, not
necessarily.
even because they
No.
seemed to be friends before. But it's just like he meets him
I think
and
they
he's
were.
so like enthralling and he's so
Right.
like he's so attracted to him and he's like, this is who I want to be with.
This movie sounds really scandalous. I'm a little
No,
afraid
it's-
of
It's
everyone
really
talking
nice.
about it
It's
right now.
wonderful though. It's totally not.
It's the opposite of scandalous.
It's
the
very
opposite
wonderful.
of
It's like when
Yeah.
we were talking about the
It's
masturbation scene
heartwarming.
in Shape of Water and
I
how
wouldn't
we're
say
like,
that.
it's not explicit.
I wouldn't say it's heartwarming,
Life affirming.
but
It is heartwarming.
it's not heartwarming for me. But it is a great movie. You
Yeah.
need to see it. It is that kind of movie that builds you up
Yeah.
and takes you on a emotional journey.
It's
in
not
your own
explicit
self.
at all.
I like an
I'd say
emotional
like
journey.
you know, it's refreshing because it's not too in your face,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very low key.
It's really
It's definitely something I want. I'm
Romance.
gonna definitely check it
it's
out.
about these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
All right, so
right,
let's
so
get into
number
the top
two.
twos. My number 2 is Get Out, which Andy
Okay.
had it earlier.
Yeah.
I had it all the way up at number 2.
I had mine on 6.
I just really, when I look back on the year, it was one of the movies that stuck with me the most. And in so many ways, it was just this really great movie for multiple reasons. One, that it's the guy from Key and Peele. Jordan Peele, his first directing big movie, he wrote it, he directed it. And the way he does it so expertly, while playing off the tropes of old horror, while updating them enough to make it work for audiences today is great. I also thought the theater experience I had when I saw this movie was amazing. When you see this,
I had one of the best comments. It's when she's eating the cereal and the milk separately. There's this girl behind me. What the fuck is she doing? And she said it in the best way.
it's literally the.
Was that at the end?
Yeah.
When
she's trying to find a new
Oh yeah, she's looking at the NBA.
And it's so that scene itself is so unsettling because it's not even like she's eating the whole Fruit Loop.
She's taking
bites.
a bite of like
Fruit
a
Loop.
crazy.
I'm like, you are a lunatic.
Who bites into a Fruit Loop like that?
Not just pops the whole thing, not just bites into
I
it.
think
How?
it's probably one of my favorite scenes of the year.
It's spectacular.
I think my favorite scene is
love
when
it.
he saves himself with the cotton that
Yes.
his people died picking. Beautiful. It's a beautiful scene.
Because he plucks it, and that's
out of the chair, out of the armrest of the chair, and he puts it in his ears.
Isn't that brilliant?
That's why she doesn't get
Yeah,
fooled
but
by
that's the
the
thing. Is that this movie?
Oh, I didn't
is
even
so
make that
great
connection.
This movie is so great on a rewatch too.
Yeah.
Not just on details that you notice, but then there's like these fan theories that aren't really fan theories because they're actually like
In the movie.
they're actually in the movie. But like not just that, is that there's a scene where the dad's like, we have a problem with the black mold in the basement, and then somebody like there's a fan theory that like, oh, that was a double entendre, and then. Like the whole scene with the cop at the beginning.
Yep.
It's not just that it looks to him as if she's standing up for him.
Yes.
And there's this whole thing about white guilt and
Yes.
white people
But
standing
she's
up.
really just can't have a trail.
Yeah, it's
Right.
also the double meaning of
It's
she doesn't
lame.
want to
She
leave a
doesn't
trail.
want to leave a trail.
And it's like on a rewatch, you start noticing these details that seem like, oh, it's this thing, but it's also this thing.
Right.
And it's just...
Also, I love the friend. Who
Oh, the
who
TSA.
works
That
at
was
the
my
TSA.
favorite.
Perfect mix
casting.
of funny and horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
The
know
actor's
what?
also on the HBO show Insecure. If none of you were watching,
I've
he's
never
very
heard
funny
that.
on
I
it as
gotta
well.
check that.
But
God.
not just that, is that I also thought that Peele knew when to lighten up. Because that's the thing, is that I think a lot of people would have liked it less had it been the original ending, where it wasn't the TSA, it was a real cop.
It was
who
a
showed
real
up,
cop, yeah.
And she's reaching for help,
I was
and so
so
he gets
expecting
framed
that,
for
too.
killing all these people. And so the ending scene is where he's in the prison.
And his boy comes to him and he's
yeah,
like...
and then that's when the TSA guy shows up. And then
Oh, that would have been
like
so sad.
that would have been
Yeah.
just such
Dark,
a drag,
so dark.
and that would have put off a lot of like white people because they'd be like, "Oh, this is just like saying that all white people are bad," which those ones were.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a lot less accessible if they did that, and also like it would just because it did the same. It did commentary, and that's the thing is that you thought that was coming.
I thought it was coming. I was
Yep.
And that's the thing.
Yes.
It's not like
It
it's
plays on what your
yeah,
expectations
it
were.
plays on your expectation. Oh shit!
Yeah.
he's gonna get framed, and then it plays on that and makes you,
And I love that because
Yeah.
I actually thought it was going to end with
yeah.
the cop, and I was like, yeah.
No, but the
that to me that's a perfect ending.
It would've made
because
sense.
That's how this world is. We get screwed, and then
when we think we got out of
I think
it,
we got out and get us back in.
again,
Godfather.
my favorite, one of my favorite parts of the movie is not even the fact that, like, even within this group of racist white people that are taking these black people because they're in fashion, I love the fact that there's one of them who's the one that buys
Yeah, he's
our
like,
main
"I don't
character.
care
He's
what
like,
you
I'm
look
not
like."
even racist. I just kind of want your eyes.
that's the only thing.
Right.
And it's terrifying.
It's terrifying because even someone who isn't an awful racist person is still awful because he just wants to prey on you. He just wants something from you.
Well,
and it's scary.
He's like that's the only thing available on the market.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Yeah, and I loved even little subtle things like the one Asian guy at the whole party.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Like there's lots of fan theories of why he's there, but so just reading through all of them is like, yeah, like I could see every single theory. It makes sense to me. Like from start to finish, I thought it was a great movie.
And I just love the fact that it kind of broke through the whole Oscar thing, because those movies don't get nominated for Oscars.
Yeah.
And the fact that it did, I'm so happy
Right.
that he got nominated for actor. So
Yeah,
the
genre movies
actor got
always do badly.
nominated. The director got nominated. Got nominated for Best Picture and Script. The only thing that I wish it would have gotten as well is the supporting actress, which is the
Yeah.
maid. She was great.
Yeah.
Like the scene where she's like, no, oh no, and like that scene, I'm like, just give her a nomination. That's a great piece of acting work right there that she did, and it's just a really great movie.
No, but
It sticks
Catherine
with me.
Keener is great also.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Catherine Keener was great. Yeah.
Alison Williams is great. I hate her on Girls, but she's really good in this movie.
It's amazing.
Anyway,
All right.
Great
so number
freaking
2.
movie. My number 2,
Now I don't know why it's not higher on
here
the
it
list.
comes, is A Ghost Story. I love this movie.
Oh.
It's a... Do you guys not want to hear
Go
about it?
ahead, talk about it.
That's just walking out.
Oh, man, that's disrespectful. Anyway, I love The Ghost Story. I've had more time to think about it, and the more I think about it,
I hate it.
it's just I love it even more. It's just a wonderful meditation on how the house that you, or the place that you live in, and the person who you share that with, how that place can have such an influence over your life, and how it'll just take like decades for you to basically get over the loss of that. Have you seen it, Michael?
No, I have not.
It's just a wonderful movie, and it like Dunkirk, it plays with time a lot.
No, don't say that movie in the same thing.
Why not? Dunkirk also has a very abstract thing with how it plays with time, and so does Ghost Story. I'm sorry, but that's just true. If you haven't noticed that, then I don't know what to tell you. You just haven't seen the movie, or I don't know.
So passion.
I legitimately want to see it because
But
I want to know if I see
it's
it the way
wonderful.
Josh does.
All right, you know what?
Okay.
I'm
You're
gonna
the only person that's ever talked about it with never mentioning the pie scene to me, which is very funny to me.
The pie scene is wonderful, but it's
It's
such a little thing in the movie. There's so much more in the movie that I could just go on and on about, but you guys don't want to hear it, so let's move on to the next one.
No, what I'm saying.
Your list. You can talk about whatever you want.
I want to watch this because I'm curious if I like it as much.
Alright,
Because I do like weird shit
want-
sometimes.
We also wrapped it in the summer movie wrap up, I believe.
No,
Yeah, we-
We talk about it at the very
It
end,
didn't
but you
go-
never really go.
It didn't
We
go
talked
well.
about. We
didn't
talked
go
about.
Talk about very
It
short.
didn't go well. It was just a yelling match, but
Oh, okay.
it's fine. Just watch it.
I think the biggest problem with this is that it's a lot of scenes of after he dies and becomes a ghost in a white sheet. The biggest problem is that it's just drawn out scenes that will last up to 10 minutes.
I've heard this
Yeah.
criticism
of
before.
just
I've heard
him
this
standing in the back of the room. So not only is it a
I've heard this
scene where
criticism.
nothing's happening in the scene itself, but then he's just standing there, not moving, and then
don't-
also you can't
think
see
so.
any expression on his face.
There's a scene.
And then, so it's not just where nothing's happening on the scene, nothing's happening with him because he's just in a white sheet. And then I think it's a lot of projection where it's like,
But I think
there's
that-
like these little like snippets of like this is
I'm
where your
actually
home is.
itching.
It sounds like that might be the point, though.
That sounds interesting
No,
because
No, but it's
because he has no expressions,
But
you're
listen,
expressing your
listen,
own.
guys.
Yeah.
things
I
on
didn't
it.
think
Let me
it
just
as
say
that,
one.
though.
Let me just say one thing.
I just
Wait,
thought it was like nothingness and nothingness.
Well, you
so
guys
both
are-
of the things are
But
nothing.
the biggest thing is that this movie's 89 minutes, and I literally thought it was 3 hours. I thought it was the long.
listen,
I thought it was the
Let's
longest
give
movie I
Josh
saw
his
this
final
year.
thoughts because
Okay,
it is
yes,
on
all
his.
right.
his list.
Okay.
Let's
In
let him talk
defense,
about it.
in defense of that, the part where people just lose it is the first 20 or so minutes after Casey's character dies. Which, spoiler alert, he dies within minutes of the movie, and it's because we're seeing his counterpart, which is Rudy Mara, reacting to his death, and that is a very slow and crippling thing to watch. But after that, where new residents start to move into the house and the house gets torn down, so many things happen. The history of the world happens in this movie, and I'm not fucking kidding.
But that would work
That
as a
happens.
short.
That happens, and I'm saying all those scenes are played out.
That's very interesting.
It's so much quicker, and they're not slow as people are complaining they are.
It feels like Mother.
It's
Conceptually,
two different movies altogether.
Conceptually, I think it sounds interesting. Number 2, Andy.
Two
All right. Number 2 on my list is Wind River.
Wind River's my number 2.
Me too.
Alrighty.
I have number one, but we can talk about it right now. If you like.
I felt like the guy from Get Out just stern handshake.
Wind River is my number 1, but we can talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about it now.
Everybody has a
It's
number
all-
2. Number 1,
Right.
it's right in there, so.
So, I mean, what can I say about this movie? This movie
It's just
made me cry.
There is no
It
movie this
hit
year
me-
that stuck with me more than this movie.
yeah.
That's the reason why it's number 1. At the end, it's one of the ones I didn't even have to rewatch.
Yeah.
I could remember everything from that movie and how I felt about it when I was watching it.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that movie's so good. It just affected me. And it was
The
just,
father.
oh.
The father.
Yes, that
the
scene
father
alone.
is what really
Yeah.
hit me hard.
It was the 2 conversations between those 2
at
dads.
the beginning when
My
he sent
God.
sent him to get his daughter,
Yeah.
and at the end,
It just
after
breaks
the
my heart.
resolution when they were sitting.
But what I find so hard is that like there's this one person I know, she won't even watch it because she's like, I don't like Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch.
Well,
I'm
then
like,
she's just missing.
I know. And
First
that's
of
the
all,
thing, is
Elizabeth
that
Olsen
you-
is a treasure.
she's an amazing
She's great.
actress.
Like,
And Hawkeye is good when he wants to be.
Also,
but that's
Elizabeth
the thing,
Olsen, I
is
think
that
this is one of her best
I
performances.
noticed
too.
it for the first like 5 minutes, but then you forget because they just like they're those characters.
Yeah, they become
like
different
they
people.
become it, and it's just I don't like that like comment, but like it's subtle acting.
Yes.
But like it's subtle to the point where like they're just these characters. There's no like freak out scene. There's no like Oscar bait scene, and it's just like these are what they would do in this situation, and it's just perfectly written to the
Right.
point where you forget you're watching a fiction, and it's just. And not just that, not just the story itself, but like the tying back to real life, where to this day there are no missing cases reports filled for Native American women in America. We don't know the numbers of how many missing
Yeah,
Native
it's a-
American
it's a
women have gone
crushing
because there's no
thing to
missing
hear.
people's report. It could be hundreds, it could
Why?
be thousands.
Why is that?
No one, like the government doesn't.
Because the
They don't
government,
care.
yeah, it's a different.
And that's the thing,
kind
is
of
the Wind River, the reservation,
jurisdiction, yeah.
is like the size of like 3 New Yorks, and there's 6 cops.
yeah.
And the size that like a
And I think it does a very good job of showing that.
and that's the
as
thing
well.
is that it's
Yeah,
so
it's
sparse
huge
that if
wilderness.
a body goes missing, whether it's on purpose or not,
You can't.
they,
you're
like
not gonna-
Yeah.
they're understaffed. They can't go out looking through this nature where there's no one living. Well, there's people living, but like a lot of it is the wilderness.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's just the government is doing nothing to help that.
Right.
And so when they showed those facts, I already knew because like in high school we learned about the reservations, like those schools that they sent that stopped in 1997. The last school, what was that school called? In Canada, there was a school that they kidnapped Native American kids and sent them to school to reform them. And the last one closed in 1997, and it's known for like abusing these children and taking them away from their families. And it's just like these like horrible facts about how they're treating them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's putting them back to this real life things that's happening today. It's not just a great story, but it's like,
Right.
it's just awful.
If we want to get into spoiler talk, this movie had one of the most gut wrenching scenes I've seen like probably in decades. Which I don't like watching these types of scenes in any movie, but this movie just played it so horribly. It was the rape scene. I just the way that it built up. And the way that I just couldn't take it. Like I almost like just
Right.
covered my eyes because I couldn't watch that.
Right. It was pretty.
It was
brutal.
And it came from, like, the whole movie just building tension, and that is kind of the moment where everything is supposed to click and make sense. And it's even once it makes sense, it's somehow worse. And
Yeah.
you're like, I
didn't-
knew it was
didn't
bad,
know
but, like,
that makes me
Right.
feel horrible.
I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
That's
like,
one of those things
Jesus.
where they showed it and it was worse
Yeah,
than what you
Yeah,
remember.
the whole build up to it, like, is you're trying to figure out how this happened. How did she end up out in the wilderness? And you always knew it had to have been something bad. And then when you find out exactly what it is, it's just like everyone's suspecting the boyfriend, and you find out no, he was actually trying to protect her, and it was actually these other
And
assholes.
and Jeremy Renner's final like
Oh, just that.
revenge fucking thing is just so nice and cathartic. I don't like to cheer whenever someone gets murdered, but
Right.
I want to cheer when that guy got murdered.
For me, it was all about just that.
But
I
it-
think it explored how people deal with grief better than any
Exactly.
movie I've ever
That
seen.
is the big
It
part.
wasn't just that scene. It was the fact that the dad of that girl, he's like, make him suffer. And
Right.
it was like, and so when he comes back, Jeremy Renner goes back to the dad.
Oh yeah.
And then they
And they're
barely,
sitting there.
they're
They-
just sitting there, and you know that, like,
He did what he was told.
he did what he was
and
told.
no
and it was
speaking needed to happen. It was just that scene.
Oh,
is,
and I love how he says like how tough that girl was and how he couldn't even do half the distance that the girl did in daylight.
That guy didn't even do a quarter of the distance
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
that
she
just
ran-
made me even happier. I was like,
Oh.
yeah, you fucking weak
But
piece of scum.
even the part that really hurt me too is when he went to the house to check on the guy.
Oh.
And he couldn't find him, and he went up into the room and
And
found
the
the
wife,
mother
yeah.
in there
Yeah.
cutting herself.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh my god! I was like,
and how
does
the
this
dad
movie
knew
wanna
and he was
kill us?
letting that happen. It was like,
why does it hate
It
us?
just emotionally crushed me. Yeah.
But it's such an affecting movie. I think
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
sticks with you, and that's the reason why it was my number one. I'm happy that you guys all have it so high.
Number two for us.
Everybody had it basically.
It's
number two.
Mariana's number 2.
So
No.
yeah, Mariana's number 2 as well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody loved it.
Lady Bird and Wind River is just a toss-up between
Yeah.
the two.
So
It's just because I watched Lady Bird 3 times already, and I haven't rewatched this one.
so let's get it. So that was your guys' number 2.
Number
Michael,
one.
and-
So number 1.
My number 1 was Wind River, obviously.
Okay.
So Yash, what is your number?
my number one. Wait,
Because this is all their number
so
2.
what was your number 2 then?
My number 2? I said
Oh,
before
okay,
was
okay.
Get
I
Out.
see.
My number
All
2 is
right.
Get Out.
That's crazy how
Yeah.
Wind River.
Yeah.
It's that
3
great.
2s and a 1.
We planned that.
Yes.
My number 1 was no, it's just called Phantom Thread.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
It's your number one.
Yes,
That
I
I did not
love
expect.
that movie. I already seen it twice.
What?
I
Can't
like
wait
It
for the-
came out like this week.
I know. I saw it twice in the week. I can't wait
I
for
had to
the.
retire the Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah, I love that movie. The first screening was awful. I don't know. You guys want to hear about it?
No, not right now.
Okay.
No need for that.
It's just in a shitty theater.
Why do you like
Sound.
Phantom Thread so much?
Why I like Phantom Thread so much is it's just a really good movie about
A man, baby.
not a man baby, but just
that is who he is though, and that's why I liked it.
Yeah,
because
it's-
it was a man child who's also extremely successful.
Yeah, it's about-
and you sort of see that how that affects his life.
exactly, and it's about
Yeah.
like codependent toxicity.
Exactly.
It's kind of fucked up, but that's what so many relationships are in this world, especially like old like not so much new because people just break up now when shit gets like that.
Yeah,
but like
during the times where you felt like you need to
you stay together is and this movie captures that so perfectly through this fashion designer.
But especially in that time period, you meet someone, you're like, oh, they're attractive, I'll take them out on a date. 3 dates later, you're engaged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's just have you guys seen it? I don't want to.
Yeah,
be the only
I
one
liked
that-
it quite a bit.
Yeah,
My
I've
voice
seen
is going. You guys talk
Yeah,
about
it's a very solid character study I found,
Mm-hmm.
and he's such a good actor.
But
Not,
Yeah,
okay,
he'll
sorry,
go.
I'm going to talk about it too again. But sorry, you're going to.
I haven't seen it, but I know that Daniel Day is a great actor.
Yeah.
So I
There's I was watching him while he was doing it. The thing that I sort of picked up on that makes him better than a lot of people is there's a lot of these really small little things he'll add to a character, just like little movements that are consistent with the character the whole time.
Scene.
It works.
My favorite scene is when she brings him tea, and he's like. And then she's like, okay, all right, I'm sorry I brought you the tea because he didn't want the tea. He was working.
Yeah,
and
he's like, well, that doesn't help
he's
now.
like, the
You've
tea's
already
leaving.
wasted the time.
No, he says, this is perfect. He's like, the tea might be leaving, but the interruption stays right here where it is. And I'm like, that's such a perfect, like...
One of my favorite parts of the movie, his sister.
His sister is so
Just
wonderful.
Such a well done role, very small role for the most part. Not a huge part of the movie, and yet a huge part of his life, and you just see that
It is a huge...
interaction.
I thought it was a huge
I
part
think
of the
it
movie.
works. Oh, yeah.
But not just that, the movie is like sneakily funny.
It's really
It's like-
funny at times.
It's mostly him where he's very specific. He needs things done exactly the way he wants it to a point.
Yeah.
Where she does a nice action for him, like she makes him dinner. And then he's like, "You're attacking me." Like,
I mean,
and
she
it's
was
just-
attacking him.
and it's just like he will, like, any disruption of, like,
Yeah.
anything, he'll just freak out and he'll make these, like, snide little comments that he's completely serious.
I love that how in a relationship like that, both of those characters, they're not wrong. Like, she's not wrong for doing something nice for him, and he's not wrong for being mad at her for not knowing who he is and how he should like things. She fucking drenches the thing in butter, and I'm like,
she knows.
no,
She
but
knows that
that first time she was trying to do something romantic, and she still, it's like, you know, like old people do this, and you love to watch old people. It's funny when you watch old people fight, but when you're really involved in that, it's like, it's kind of fucked up, and it's kind of not pleasant, and it's not funny, but it is.
But it is.
One of my favorite scenes is, you know what? I'm not gonna spoil it. It's
there's a lot that you can spoil, so I don't think. Yeah,
I'm not gonna
let's not
spoil
go
it.
too far in. Andy, what's your number one? Oh shit! What's this face?
I know what it is.
movie.
He is in love with the Coke.
Oh, of course.
And
Why
get it
it's
for the
not
logo.
on anyone's list is beyond me.
I struggled with. Yeah.
It is sheer genius. I love it. It's beautifully painted or drawn or whatever you want to say. Animated. It has story. It has culture. It has love. It has laughter.
It has energy.
It has energy. It has loss. It has every emotion there is. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It made me want to sing. It made me want to dance. It made me want to go home after watching the movie and hug my family. It made me just want to have a family weekend with my family after seeing that movie.
It made me want to build my own ofrenda.
Yes, the ofrenda.
Like,
I'm the only one who hasn't seen it, correct?
You haven't seen it yet?
Wow.
It is
Wow.
very good.
It is quite good.
I tried watching
And
it.
now-
Another low quality.
I always
episode.
feel guilty not putting it on.
Right.
Because you're talking about it, I'm like,
And
yeah,
now
I
you
did,
don't have to
I
sit-
did
you don't
feel
have to
all
sit
that.
through the
you
short-
did.
I did.
You
Yeah.
absolutely did.
Yeah.
And everyone has a Ernesto de la Cruz in their life. Someone, a false prophet that they looked up to and really let them down and really guided them on their way to being a better person. And for me, that was my father. And to him, his grandfather, that's why it touched me. And I've experienced very, very hard losses in the last 5 years. We have now.
Yeah.
And just to know that my family is still there looking down on me and caring about me and loving me the way that this movie really portrayed, it touched me beyond words.
Yeah.
Beyond any movie that came out last year, it touched me like that. And when my son just watches movies, he loves movies. He'll say that every movie's good.
Yeah.
But when he sat
Such a
there
good age.
and he was crying tears out of his eyes.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I'm like, why are you crying? And he's like, I don't know.
It's just, oh.
It was just beautiful.
And
I'll leave it at
I was
that.
outwardly sobbing at the end of this movie. It's such a... It's about family, and that's, I think, the key. It really
And
hits
it's
home.
weirdly it played with my expectations because I didn't expect a lot from it either. And going into it, I didn't expect it to touch me the way that it did. And it is really great. It was on the cusp. I don't have any animated movies in my top 10, which is the reason why.
I think it
just
was.
don't
I think
like, yeah.
it had to be on my list. Maybe I'm raving about it too much and put it number one.
No,
because
I don't
really
think
and
you're
truly,
right.
I had Wind River number one.
Yeah.
I had Wind River
No,
number
but
one.
I think
those are
you're right because
just
it's the way that it
such
sticks with
Such
you.
different
Right?
different feelings.
This
Yeah.
is a
You
personal...
come
I think the way
It
that
was
this one
personal.
stuck with you,
Definitely
it's personal,
personal.
yeah. And it's, yeah, I
But that's
agree.
why it's a favorites list. Because
Right.
it is personal.
Mr. Michael.
My number one, The Big Sick.
I am shocked!
I don't. That's crazy, but I,
I
want
didn't
to
think
hear
it out.
why.
I forgot that you had it on your list. I was still
really?
I'm legit surprised.
What?
It was one of the best movie going experiences of the year. Oh my gosh, what a treat!
I want to hear it.
I am a big fan of rom-coms,
Gianni.
and this is
rom-coms.
this is so much better than a regular rom-com. Like this is a great movie. I don't. when you're getting
not
to the
perfect.
top 5,
It's not perfect.
It's fluid in the top 5.
Exactly.
It's really
But-
hard to compare the Big Sick to
Wind
Dunkirk and Wind River.
Right.
So, like, yeah, it depends on your mood. But, man, like, the Big Sick was just such a treat for me. I laughed. I cried.
I like that
did
it
a
took
dance.
the
I don't
trope.
know.
I like that it took the trope of like the whole when the couple breaks up in the romantic comedy and they just don't talk about it for some reason. You're like, well, if you just had a conversation, this will all be fixed.
Right.
But they can't have
They
the conversation
take that
because you're in a
away.
coma.
They
So
take
I'm
it
like,
away.
great.
But
That works.
I thought it was beautiful in the fact that the mother, Ray Romano, at the beginning,
And
was the
Milana,
one that had to pretty much talk the mother into liking this guy.
Yeah.
And then she ended up being his greatest asset
Yes.
in the end.
Yeah.
And I thought the relationship
rom-com was between him and the mother.
and,
And
the
they stole
mother
the show.
was better
There's
than
such
the
good
relationship
chemistry
was
there.
better than him and the girl.
Oh,
it
my
was
gosh.
like he spent time kind of schmoozing his soon-to-be mother-in-law to convince the daughter to be with him, which is so weird.
It's this weird rom-com where the chemistry between the guy and the parents of the girl is better because he spends so much time in
And
this
that's
movie with
important.
them, and it's so key to what this movie is. And
Yeah.
And I thought you were talking about the relationship between him and the parents was great. I thought the relationship between him and her when it was good,
It was
was
good
so
too.
adorable
It
and
was-
cute.
it was
There's so
cute.
many cute
It's
moments
charming.
between them. That
It
it's
was
like,
charming.
And unsung heroes
the
in
messages
the movie.
that she would send him on the phone, and he just saved them while he's listening to them. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's just so cute.
Great. One of my favorite guys, his brother.
Yes.
Oh my god, the scenes between him and his brother are just like hanging out, and it's about culture as well, and just it's one of the only movies that I've seen so far that highlights that culture, and it really it digs into it. It sort of gives you the
Other than
perspective.
That culture.
Different culture, but like you.
At least that bigly, like widely
Yeah.
accessible.
Right.
Like, and that widely known.
Yeah,
Because
Latinos
there's-
have been in American cinema for a really long
But
time.
not-
but
not
it's never
Indians.
like been
Right.
in
Yeah.
a blockbuster. I mean,
Right.
Big Sick isn't a blockbuster, but it's gotten enough praise and enough
Exactly.
like noticeability.
And you see the perspective of the parents,
Right.
where like you're kind of angry at them for
I
like
couldn't
cutting the
stand the
son
mother.
out of their life. You say, how
I
could
couldn't
you
stand
do
his
that?
mother. I couldn't
Oh,
stand her.
you're so
not
angry.
in a bad way, like she was a bad actress or anything. I just couldn't stand the fact that she couldn't get over the fact that he wasn't like you. Like I don't want these old customs that you did for brother Kumal or whatever his name was. Leave
He's
me
trying to
out of
find
it.
his own way.
Leave me out of it, and I'm not gonna let you take me out of this house. I'm not gonna let you kick me out of this family like you did to cousin whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. And that's what I.
And she's still-
Mother.
she's
Yeah.
still-
I thought you meant Holly Hunter. Okay.
Yeah.
but you also see just like a chip away, and you see like one day maybe she will be able to do this.
No, but then you see the pictures
happy-
afterwards, like
Yeah, you
She
see
did
because
accept
it's based
it.
on a
It's
true
so-
story.
well, so
You get
weird
that.
in
when
Indian culture.
She came to give him the food.
Yeah.
And she stayed in the
Yeah,
taxi.
that's
and
what
she
it
wouldn't
is.
look at him. That I was
love
like,
that.
finally. Good.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
breaking
man.
you down.
Right.
That's like what my dad did when I moved out, man. Like it was,
Right.
it's like man, Indians don't want to deal with emotion. It fucking drives me nuts. They're
But
so,
it cuts to the core of that.
Right,
You're
right,
like,
it
yes,
does.
like this.
They're-
The actual people are like this, but he still loves her because it's still family.
Yeah.
And you know she still loves him.
And he knows that she's being ridiculous.
Yeah.
She might in the back of her mind know she's being ridiculous, and he's not gonna let her be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you be ridiculous.
Oh, the cue card scene. Oh,
And
phenomenal.
I also love the relationship between Ray Romano and his wife.
Yeah.
Because
so
there was-
many little things.
No,
Yeah, little
you never
relationship
knew that
plots.
there were some issues there. Okay, so segue. Daddy's home too. All right.
Yeah.
So
Let's
John
finally
Lithgow-
talk about the real number one of the
John
year.
Lithgow's character had an issue
Yeah.
with the wife, and I don't know why when I saw The Big Sick, I saw Daddy's Home second.
Yeah.
When I saw Daddy's Home, when you finally found out that the reason why the wife, the mother wasn't there is because they broke up.
Yeah.
automatically transported me back into
the way
Big Sick.
does it, and it's the way Daddy's Home does it.
Right.
And you're like, Daddy's Home, you literally put him on stage and had him announce.
Right.
And you're like, that's not the way to do this. This is the subtlety they do in Big Sick.
Right.
Just
like, yes, I messed
and
up.
it's so funny,
yes,
guys. It's so funny.
It's probably
so
the
good.
funniest movie
funny.
I watched this year.
funny.
It was hilarious.
My favorite, like
It
that.
is a delightful movie. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's number one because it was the whole package for me.
And you know I liked it because I watched it on the plane. On a very uncomfortable plane ride. And I don't normally watch anything on the plane. And it really just sucked me in.
Still gets
You know what scene I actually loved is when right after their first date, he brings Emily back to his house and he's showing her like some of his favorite movies and he's just like watching her watch it. It's like,
oh yeah, it's so real.
I feel like everyone's been there.
Everyone's been there. Watch this part. And the person's like, yeah, it's so good. Like, I don't really like it.
Okay, let's finish it off. Number one, Marianne.
Lady
Pressure.
Bird.
what is it?
Lady Bird.
Bird.
Which was
I
my
mean-
number 3.
Yeah, we've gone in depth with it with our wrap up of winter.
Yes.
But just overall, it's a slice of life, but unlike Boyhood, it's actually good. And that's the thing, is that there's just a lot of people use this, but it's relatable and not relatable like, oh, she's like my race and she's my age. It's like, no, these are issues. It's like, there's financial issues with the family. There's depression that, like, from people who, because depression isn't always noticeable. Like, people you know around you, mental illness, it's a thing that isn't always at the forefront of every conversation. It's just like, this is something that people have.
And seeing it twice,
Yeah.
it's like stark how much you recognize
sprinkled
how
through.
much depression is sprinkled throughout it.
And that's the thing, that's a key point, is like the dad's dealing with it, the drama
priest,
teacher
yeah.
/ priest, and
And her friend?
her friend.
friend,
Yeah,
it's
and
problem.
my
Yeah.
favorite thing is that this is a thing a lot, I wouldn't say this is a romance. I mean, it deals with like romantic
it's
issues.
slice of
but
life,
I mean,
like you said.
as like you're going through high school, you're gonna get your crushes, you're gonna get relationships. But like my favorite part is that there's a prom scene, which you would expect. Oh, I'm going out with this guy I'm dating, and this is gonna be this huge moment. She leaves the prom to go comfort her girl, who's her friend who's a girl. And this is not a romantic scene. And it's just like this. Usually in a teenage movie, the prom is like the
be all and end all.
It's this moment, like, this is the greatest night of our lives because they can't see into the future. And and she just goes and comforts a friend
And they end up going together to the prom.
and it's just like, it's this friendship that's just
It's
so
just so
heartwarming.
genuine.
It's genuine, and I love the friend. I don't know her name, but she's Jonah Hill's sister in real life.
Really?
Which I was so surprised when I found out. But she's lovable. Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird, is lovable.
Even though she is unbearable at times, she is adorable
but that's
as
the
a
thing.
person.
And I love the mother and daughter relationship.
Yep.
The mother is flawed.
It's one of the best things in the movie.
Like, the mother's flawed. Their relationship is flawed. The mother, like, there's times, especially when you're a parent, there's times where you say something, it comes off wrong, and sometimes it is wrong, and then you fight, and it's just like, it's just, there's things for everyone, and it's not just like, oh, here's the one thing I relate to, but the rest of the movie's not good. It's like, just great, and there's an arc.
So many great characters: the dad, the mom, the brother,
the brother's
his girlfriend.
Great.
Like, all these little things are sprinkled throughout this movie are just so good, and you can relate to in different ways. And even if there's some stuff that you're like, it's not so much for me, there's something in there for you because it touches on so many things that you experience when you're growing up and when you're figuring out who you are and what you want to be. And it's just a really great movie.
What I liked is the way it doesn't feel like the characters suddenly came alive when the movie started.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they lived lives before the movie, and it feels like they're going to continue on with interesting things after. Like, it really does feel like this picture into this specific part in a real life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I really liked also was like how this movie's about embracing your scars and kind of like the messed up family you can come from, and how you you don't have to hate them. Like, I feel like a lesser director would have made this movie about escaping that world.
Well, that's the thing.
And it is kind of about that, but they didn't make it so heavy-handed.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about escaping the world as so much as it's about moving on.
Yes.
That's what she wants.
She thinks it's about escaping.
I know, but
and
the movie
she
is
has
about...
gotten she realizes...
I agree with you.
Yeah. And I love how it's not about, like... It's about, you should be proud of where you came from. And that's how the movie ends, and I love that.
It is how the movie... Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, did you... the first time you drove through San Francisco, did you notice things for the first time, even though she's lived there for her entire life?
And then you switch to the mom.
Like,
yeah.
And it's just it's so
Yeah, and it's not just that. The final line of the movie is, "And I thank you for giving me my name, Christine. It's a really great name." And I was like, she finally embraced it. Like, she's been getting everybody to call her Ladybird her whole life. And there's all these little micro things that kind of the parents deal with because there's a rebellious teenage daughter or whatever, but like little things that she does that makes them kind of like a little bit offensive to them. Like, why does she just want to go by the name that we gave her? Like, we gave it to her for a reason. And why does she say we live on the wrong side of the tracks? It makes us feel bad. Or why does she make me why did she make me drop her off like 5 minutes from the school so that no one in the school will see me dropping her off? And it's all these little things. And at the end of the movie, she finally realizes the way that she acts does affect other people, and the way that she realizes it and then puts into action trying to make amends for those things in a small way. It's so beautiful.
That's one of my favorite things is that she makes her dad drop her off away from the school so she can walk so they don't see how cheap her car is or something like that.
Yeah.
And it affected him so much that he talked to his wife about it, and now the mom is talking to Ladybird about it. Like, that's...
But he would have never brought it up because that's one of the sacrifices he was willing to make for the daughter. It's like, if that's what she wants, it's fine.
He knows what she's doing, and he knows that that's why she's doing it. But it hurts him. He's talking to it about his wife, and like, it's just all these things.
It hits home because that's what real life is like.
Yes.
But I just want to say the reason why this is the greatest relatable movie is because there's so many teen movies, because this is a movie about a teenager, there's so many movies that by making a character relatable, they're like, let's just make her the most average looking girl. Like, I know this is a bad example, but Twilight, the reason why she's brown haired, brown eyes, pale, she has no qualities except that she's clumsy, is because they're like, oh well, we want everyone to relate to her, she's the average looking girl. And I'm like, she's so average that she's the most unrelatable person ever.
And that's such a flaw because Kristen Stewart is so unique.
Yeah, have you seen Personal Shopper? That was a great movie. But that's the thing, is so many of these movies about teenagers, they like think about the looks and that's it. And like they're like, oh, let's just not give her much of a personality. Because
I think this movie's strength is that
she's
so relatable
defined.
because she's so weird and different. She's figured out she's not figured out what she wants to be, but she's trying to figure it out and doing it. She's made herself so different because she has colorful hair. She's doing all these different things. She has a cast on. They do all these things to make her stand out from everybody else. And in that way, she is relatable because everybody doesn't want to be everybody else. You want to have something about yourself that makes you you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
But yeah, this and Wind River is just like, it would be tied if I could.
All right. So we made it through all our top 10s. There's a lot of commonality in there. I'd say Wind River and Lady Bird, and there's some good Big Sick. I didn't even realize how much I loved the movie until we had the conversation.
Great movie. Right.
Man, it was a great year for movies. There's a lot of good stuff.
And do we want to go through just like throw out like as fast as we can one movie we're looking forward to?
Oh, sure. I can say I'm looking forward to the Black Panther is my big movie that I'm looking forward to this year.
I'm looking forward to Annihilation.
I was just about to say that.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
Annihilation,
excited.
same director's Ex Machina. I hope it's as good.
So happy.
Yeah. Since those ones are already set, I mean, I've already got my Black Panther tickets pre-sale already, but I won't say that. I'll say Bilal.
Oh,
What?
It's a movie animated movie that's coming out soon about
I saw you post
a Muslim,
about
like a Muslim prince or something.
Oh, I think I saw the headline of
Right,
it. Like,
so I'm actually looking forward to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's still good stuff to look forward to in 2018. What are you guys looking forward to? Sorry.
I don't know what else other than Annihilation. I'm an empty husk.
Okay, well, we briefly mentioned
Well,
it.
Black Panther.
Thoroughbreds. I'm excited
Yes.
for
Oh,
yeah,
that.
I just hope
and
it's
God
you always
Particle.
have lists.
Yeah, no. God Particle, the third Cloverfield movie.
It's
I love
in
what
this
they're doing with this.
That's
in
the
this
name?
weird zone right now. Where
Well,
I,
I
don't
think
know
they're
how to
changing the
release.
name.
Oh, don't change the
I know, but like 10 Cloverfield Lane was originally named Valencia, and then they changed the name too. But I love the first one was okay, but then the second one, it was a completely different movie, different characters, different feel, different genre, and I hope they stick the same with the third. I saw the synopsis, and it seems to be a completely different
They're doing
genre
this
in
anthology
general.
thing with it. It's
And
really
then
cool.
also The Modern Ocean, which is Shane Carruth's new movie.
I am so pumped for that.
He did a Primer, which was a time travel movie, and then
On 7 grand he
Upstream
did
Color.
that. And Upstream Color.
I'll throw one out. The Tomb Raider, the second trailer was a lot better.
Oh,
And I'm
I haven't
actually
seen the second
excited
trailer.
now. The first one I was like, eh. Second one I was like, this could actually be good.
There was a first one?
I'll actually also say that I'm a little bit interested in the Ocean's
It was
8.
kind of dull.
I'm interested in the Ocean's 8 movie.
I'm curious.
I'm curious.
I'm curious.
I'm not saying I'm super excited about it, but I'm curious.
Is Sonnenberg doing that?
Is he?
I don't think he
I don't
is.
think so.
If
I don't
he
know
is,
for sure, but
then
I
I'm
don't
on
think so.
board.
I'm not sure. Anyway, so those are the movies we look forward to 2018. Before we just did our favorites of 2017. It was a great year in movies. So many good movies. So many movies that got left off our list that were really good movies and that we enjoyed. And I just had a lot of fun coming here and doing this with you guys, going through our list.
Yeah, I did too. And also, I just want to point out that if you have any movies that you think that we need to touch on that we didn't touch on enough,
Hell yeah.
put it in the comments. Send us a message. Follow us on our website and our social media, and hit us up.
And again, this
Smash
is
that
a
like
personal
button.
favorite list, so everyone has different tastes.
Everyone has different tastes, so don't jump down each other's throats like we did for Yash and the Ghost Story.
We did it.
Actually,
we did it
with
for you.
at least 4 of the things on his top 10.
So, yep, I guess it's time to sign off. I'm Matt.
This was my favorite podcast yet. I'm Yash.
Andrew.
I'm still Michael.
Mariana.
And we're going to see you throughout 2018 to talk about some great movies. I don't know what we're doing next, but we'll see you around the bend. Join us next time on The Grapevine.